Welcome back to the channel. All right, it's time for the February update to the general tier list. I have fully tested Ironheart, fully tested Dust, and definitely, as you know, tested out that Red Guardian. So excited for that buff. We're going to go over the tier list, which, thank you to the Spreadsheet Wizards, now looks phenomenal. The best, definitely in my opinion, the most helpful, best spreadsheet ever created for MCoC. You can see there's all kinds of things you can configure. And in fact, I want to show this to you right now. If for those of you who are like, who are the best champions to ascend? Who are the ones that are the best champions to rank at 7 stars? Look at this. You go, you make your own copy. I'll do a quick clip showing you how to do that. And you go to 7 stars only. There you go. Those are your best 7 stars to rank up. Then you're like, no, I want to know who the best champions to ascend. There you go. Those are the ones that are available at 6 stars too. In my opinion, you want to be very, very, let's say, careful with how you use your rank up resources. I still would prefer to ascend my champions who are not available 7 stars, but I have a couple that I'm okay going to do both. Let's say if I ascended my Hulkling and he comes out a 7 star, I'm going to be okay because that means I have a 6 star ranked 5 ascended Hulkling and he is that good. It's that simple. Go make a copy and do that. All right, let's go ahead and move on. This has been totally looked over and reviewed by the MCoC Illuminati, the breadth, the knowledge, experience of all of those incredible players. Make sure you go and you support them as well. Thank them for sharing all of this information. Okay, let's get into it. Watch that other video so you know how to use a spreadsheet, what all the emojis mean. And you can hear me multiple times say the best champion to rank up is the one that you enjoy most, because you're going to know how to use them. You're going to play them a lot. This is meant for you to be snapshot. Okay, what did Vega and the MCoC Illuminati think of this champion I just pulled, or I'm kind of liking them. Also, you can use a spreadsheet. Go to the links on my channel with a playlist full of videos on how to use them made by myself and many of the members of the MCoC Illuminati too. All right, let's go ahead and finally jump into this. The whole point was to get this done so we can do it. Here we are. The first champion we're going to talk about is Wiccan. Wiccan did receive a promotion, and it was actually the Adams, the Spreadsheet Wizards, who are like, hey, you know, we go over the spreadsheet and I'm looking at it. Wiccan, I think there's some kind of things you want to review there, particularly in War and in Battlegrounds. I then went and listened to DLL's full tier list on War attackers, right? The guys are like one of the best planners in this whole game, designs champions for the game. And he did have Wiccan in his second tier of attackers. It made me go and look at it. I moved Wiccan up 1 point. Also then realized like a lot of people do use him in Battlegrounds. It's not just this meta where he can block the unblockables from Cosmic Champions, his current Battleground meta, and then also being really useful in Necropolis, yes, for the reverse controls, but also for some other fights. He's got the neutralize. He is a great champion. He's just one that I know I really liked when he first came into the game, and I always want to make sure I didn't overstate it. So I made just some very slight adjustments that took him from the super premium, which is still a great tier, and made him right at the bottom there of the top shelf. And I'm sure if you do ease of use and things like that, he'll adjust slightly. Ease of use, I don't think he's the easiest champion to use because you do need to be mindful of his spells, but there he is. There you go. Let's go ahead and move on. We're going to relatively quickly look at the mutant class because, oh no, Dust. I don't know. How could I forget about Dust? Poor Dust. She's like, hey, I'm right here. Did do the full review video of her. My intention is to continue to do full reviews of the new champions, get in my initial thoughts. I know a lot of people are looking to open up crystals and do the arena. I never advise opening up crystals unless you just want to have a lot of fun with that. That sounds fun. We know what the drop rates are. So if you want to have fun going that way, but you know, there it is. But I want to get out my initial analysis so we can test them, get them appropriately ranked on the initial spreadsheet. I try to start off very conservative with those rankings, but for Dust, I mean, there's just 3 things that really just stand out to me. One, it's those immunities, those triple immunities, and she just has them. You don't need to be in a mode. You don't need to have armor up, anything like that. She's just got them. She also then has phenomenal burst. We showed that. Like, I think in a lot of the fights, as you get into the more moderate health pools and things like that, you want to go into her SP3, but her flow, meaning how do her abilities work together? This, like, not safeguards, but the designer just did a phenomenal job. I speak about it at length. It's a really good video. I highly recommend you watch it. But you can get your prowess going through all of your Dust, but then once you enter your Sandstone mode, you can still gain your prowess. So you're not like you have to get all the way to 99 to begin with. She's fantastic against your champions who are purifying, or your nodes are going to be purifying. She's going to ramp up even faster. And then I want to see this is in Battlegrounds, especially people who did pull the 7 star. Is she able to just get down some of those Battleground fights, just going directly to her SP2 heavy, then into SP2, and then going into those SP1s, or is she needing to go all the way to her SP3? She also does have a glance mechanic. I really do like this. I liked that about Cersei when Cersei first came into the game. I think it's going to help you around some of those problematic nodes and defenders and things like that. I think it's going to be very case by case basis because not all nodes and defenders are doing that. But when it's required or asked for you, I think you're going to be really happy you have a Dust. And then also remember, no one's immune to sand. Like there's no one is. And so I think it's going to be really hard to just turn her off. She needs to do her special, so if she can't gain power, that's there. But that's like pretty much almost any champion in the game. There's some champions who can get away with just doing basics. So I don't really want to hold that against her. I really do like Dust. I could see her moving up slightly in this tier. I don't see a tier above all champion, but only time will tell. I think she's going to be very good in Battlegrounds. I know right now there's a lot on her as far as a defender is concerned. I think as time goes on, we're going to learn to play around her. You're obviously going to want counters, but I think we're going to get that down. And I think you're going to see a lot of really exciting war play out of her. And then there are no other adjustments in the mutant class. Moving on to science, the only adjustment we've made in the science class is the introduction of fully buffed, it is live, Red Guardian. Now I covered the beta buff on the CCP server. I really liked it a lot. And then now I've covered the live buff. Again, videos on this all. I really like Red Guardian. I very much wish he was available as a 7-star. I do think he's a nice Ascension candidate, especially if you don't have a buff immune. Remember, we've said this a lot on this channel. If a character is buff immune and then they've got more, you've got something really spicy going on. And then he's got tremendous short and moderate damage. They kind of nerfed his long-term damage, his like long fights like Necropolis, things like that. But ultimately, that was clearly not their intention when talking about the buff and that sort of thing. So I'm very okay with it, especially because they did increase his burst damage or his ability to do big burst in the shorter and moderate fights. Cover this extensively. And then also, he has a slow, and that is very refreshable. The slow is off his SP1. He can easily refresh it off his heavy, which you're wanting to do anyways with him being the heavy. So again, a really nice, extremely well-designed champion where I feel like they have a goal and there's almost like lasered focus in helping you do those goals. I really like him. Like I said, I personally, because my account is so mature, I very much wish he was available as a 7-star. If 6-star 4 or 5 gems were much more available, right? They just sold some for in the love sale or whatever it's called. They were pretty pricey. And so I'm trying to hold those off just for me for Battlegrounds Defender so I can just get them, take them to rank 5, ascend them, put them in my Battlegrounds deck. But if those gems became more available, Red Guardian would be a high candidate for me because he's incredibly effective and also he's tremendously fun. And if your account is not as mature as mine, which most accounts are not, I think he's a fantastic candidate to rank up. I really like Red Guardian. I think he's going to be very good in Battlegrounds. I think he's going to be very good in War, and I think he's going to be excellent for most of the questing that's asked out of us. Very big fan. Make sure you check out that video. All right, let's go and move on to the next class. All right, moving on to the next class, we have Ironheart. This is the tech, the only change in the tech. Actually, I do think there was a slight adjustment. Warlock moved above Shocker. A lot of the comments on last tier list got me to go back and kind of look at their two rankings. I do think they're close, guys. Remember, too, a lot of Shocker's value is coming from that Battlegrounds and War, which you can remove from the tier list when you open up your own copy. So keep that in mind. That's one of the many reasons why we've included that configure. Thank you so much to the Spreadsheet wizards. But I did talk about it with the Illuminati. Everyone kind of agreed, okay, let's make some slight adjustments to their scores. And they did end up turning out that Warlock was moved above. I think that's fine. I think you're splitting hairs. I think they're both phenomenal. And they're both incredibly different. And in my opinion, very much worthy of the tier above all. I mean, I've used Shocker in both of the 2 Winter of Woe fights, Absorbing Man and also Nebula. So the guy is pretty good. Okay, now we're here to talk about Ironheart, who is the other new champion for this month. I wrote down my notes. I was not able to get a video out on her, but my alliance mate Simula has brought her to War. He's a huge fan. And so I will update that Ironheart playlist with some of his videos. He really knows how to use her very well. She is one of the best miscounters in the game. If you need to get up your incinerates or your ruptures is what I believe they are. She does have very good damage. Now, it is not super fast. And so I wonder about her in Battlegrounds because I don't know how quickly she's going to be able to get those kills for you. And she does not appear to be a very strong defender. Now, she has those 2 damage sources. And like I said, I believe it's Incinerate or Plasma and Rupture. Well, I really like that for a couple of reasons. Well, yes, of course, I would have loved the Scorpion treatment, but Scorpion's pretty OP. Ironheart, that is phenomenal. And it's really nice because it's allowing her to attack the different sorts of mutants that are in the game. There are some mutants, of course, like Bishop, who you definitely do not want to be doing energy damage to. Plus, she does have that plus ability accuracy against mutants as far as, like, I think it's hits into the block, so she can take out or handle relatively well. She's not like a hard shut down counter to Onslaught, so I think that's also to keep in mind. She has a very, very nice flow of those SP1s into the SP2, so I love that about her as well. And then we cannot forget, because I think this is very important, this is something that's being asked of us a lot in the game. It's not just war. We've even seen it in some battlegrounds recently. And then, of course, in our questing, she has really nice immunities, can take an Iceman, who is someone that you're wanting your tech champions to take. I'm very, very excited to watch her. Dust, I feel more sure on. And I think as time goes on, she's going to move up, because I think she's going to be very strong in war. And I think she's going to have a role in battlegrounds. Ironheart, I felt more confident in immediately ranking her highly, as you're seeing right here. But I also feel very confident this is kind of like where she's going to be. I also don't think she can move to the tier above all, and I really don't see us moving her down anytime soon. She feels to me very well suited for the game as right now and where it appears to be heading, like those immunities and then the different damage sources, and then being a solid, not that, like, again, not shut down, because I don't think anyone is, but a really nice counter to Onslaught. I think that is a really, really big deal. Miss is becoming a bigger and bigger part of our game, so handling that as well too. Okay, we have 2 more classes. Let's quickly cover them. I don't believe there's any changes to them. Let's go ahead and look at skill. But there's really no changes in there. There's Bullseye. Depending on when you see this, because I know a lot of people watch this video over the course of the month, I will be getting out a Bullseye video. He's very, very good. I took some fights with him myself in the Paragon Gauntlet from last month, but the ones I'm going to really highlight, because I think they're more eye-opening, which I think is good when you're trying to show people how good someone is when a lot of the community thinks they aren't. From my alliance mate, Hot Fuzz, in Tier 1 SSX, shooting for top 10 in the world there, Masters War. 3 fights, I think, just excellently show off the consistency of his damage. And I know a lot of times you're like, oh, if you say a champion's damage is consistent, that means it's bad. You're trying to be nice. No, it's consistently very, very good. And I think that's a really important thing in this game. And then his really nice utility, handling miss and things like that. I'm very excited to show that to you as we go on. But here is the skill tier. And then let's go ahead and move on to the last and final class. And then here's the final class. There's no changes in here. Going through those big revamps that we do semi-annually, we do the top 10s in each class and things like that, really does help us, like, focus in and go back and look at all the champions in comparison to each other. Because a lot of us, like, have a champion we know very well and we use him very well. And it kind of goes back to what I often say is the best champion to rank up is the one that you enjoy most, because you're going to know how to use them. And so that happens. And then we go back and we fully evaluate, and then again, now thanks to this spreadsheet, we have all the numbers literally right in front of us. And so we can say, oh, if this champion's a 6, maybe this champion should be a 7, and we can work from there. So I don't expect there to be monumental changes anymore from month to month. It's going to come from the meta, or maybe us seeing that someone is really, really valuable consistently over time. And therefore the meta is often asking us to do that. Or they're just new into this game. They've got that dice emoji saying, like, give us some time. Let's see them through the rebalance period. And then let's let them get into war and battlegrounds and more like Eternity of Woe or whatever it's called these days. I really do enjoy the format. I just can't remember the name, right? Winter of Woe and things like that. And see what's constantly or frequently being asked of us. And then also, here's the other one to keep in mind, is what defenders are coming out and what's being asked of us. Like, I think Ironheart is very strong on her own, but there's a reason why I kept saying she's very good for Onslaught. Onslaught is clearly a menace in our game and will be for a very long time. So having counters for him, not just for battlegrounds, not just for war, but even questing, where you know he's eventually going to show up, is a really, really solid thing. And so that gives a champion value. So if someone becomes valuable for that, or their value increases, we will, of course, reflect that. And then, of course, continue to do the semi-annual updates. As usual, let me know what you think we got right. Let me know what we think we got wrong. Please go and make a copy of the spreadsheet. I'm just not going to be answering comments on that. I get so many comments, and I've got to focus on the ones that I can be as helpful as possible to. So please, and if you see other people asking in the comments, be nice to them. There's a chance they just didn't see it. I get it. But you can go tell them, make sure you make a copy of the spreadsheet. Thank you so much for watching. And I rarely say this, but I'm going to remember to do it today. If you enjoyed the video, please make sure you hit like. Please make sure you hit subscribe. And then go subscribe to some of that MCoC Illuminati. Thank you so much for watching. Take care. I highly suggest you go and watch the linked video so you can open up the spreadsheet and configure it. You can unclick general use, you can unclick Battlegrounds, Alliance War, configure it to how you're playing the game. I will do this one more time because I could see people still very much struggling, but I'm going to do this. This is probably the last time I'll do it. You're going to go to File and make a copy. You need to go to make a copy in order for the filtering to work. Do not go and ask me to be an editor. I know not everyone's familiar with Google Sheets. I definitely wasn't until I started doing tier lists 3 years ago. So I get it, but if you're still having trouble, go and watch the video. I've specifically made the video to go over all of the emojis and how to make a copy, and then you can use the filtering on your own.